Grand Rising, Grand Rising, Grand Rising, Consciouz Crew, TGIF, no pun intended, TGIF, Grand Rising, get up, get up, get up. This is the day that our Lord has made, honey. I hope you guys are having a wonderful Friday and are looking forward to a splendidful, abundant, and prosperous weekend. It has been one action-packed ass week, baby. And we got a lot to get into. So I'm going to be breaking down these hot topics over probably 3 or 4 different incremental live streams throughout the day. I knew I had this live stream set for 8 p.m., but I said, you know, I'm feeling the spirit, honey. Let's just go, honey. It's time to go, baby. And I know a lot of my Consciouz Crew members are up right now in their commute to work and getting the babies ready, getting the house ready, honey, just getting their Friday situated. So blessed be to all of you wonderful, beautiful people. Now, you know what we're here to get into, but before we do so, I need you guys to go ahead and thumbs up that video. It don't cost you nothing. It's free 99, and it is the most supportive thing you can do on any content on this platform, whether it's a community wall post, a live stream, or a pre-recorded material, is to thumbs up the video. The thumbs up not only helps with YouTube's algorithm, but more importantly, it triggers up YouTube's notification system. So when you are thumbing up the video, you are literally knocking on the digital door of another Consciouz Crew member and telling them to get their arses into the sanctuary. Also, shout out to all the new subbies, honey. We just been peaking and peaking and peaking and peaking, baby, okay? Headed steadfast toward that old nasty piece of 50K, honey. I love this for us. Teamwork absolutely makes the dream work, and I could not do it without you guys. So thank you guys so much for all of the support, for all of the love, for all of the engagement. I love you long time, honey. We all gonna have to go on a cruise and shake our ass together and get pregnant together and stuff, bro. We're gonna have to do something, all right? We'll work on that going forward. Also, make sure that you guys have your notification bell set to all so that you never miss a day or hour when the king is in fact kinging. And last but not least, please share the stream out to whatever it is you have digital community, whether that be your YouTube community wall, your MySpace, your Insta story, your Snapchat, your MySpace, your Facebook, the dark side of Twitter, Tumblr, or your personal OF. I don't really give a damn where you lay that link. Just let them whores know that we're loud, we're live, and we're certainly in color. And with no further ado, let's go ahead and push on through.
I know a place where you can recharge your soul.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
And in the midst of brokenness, he gon' see your asshole.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
You gon' heal, you gon' laugh and catch a little shade.
Ooh, girl.
Y'all know he be slaying, y'all better stop playing. Come hear what he's saying.
Ladies and gentlemen.
All right, let me shout out to the Consciouz Crew with the morning commute. What's going on, Sin? Hey, Shauna. What's going on, Angelica? What's going on, H.O.? Oh, nasty piece of hoe. What's going on, Tasmania? Hey, I am Nicole. Grand Rising GG. Grand Rising Star. Hey, Sherry. What's going on, Queen B More? Hey, Love. Hey, Lynn. Hey, Queen Me. Hey, y'all. What's going on? What's going on? Commit Power Now. What's going on? TST. Hey, Dr. Quantum. Hey, Boo. What's going on, y'all, baby? It's a lot going on now. Let me tell y'all. Hey, L. Michelle. Hey, Boo. I'm going to tell y'all. At first, we was going to gag and roast down, baby. We was going to gag, and roast the hell down. But the more I thought about these particular topics, okay, between Keke and Skai Jackson, I said, you know, my spiritual antenna kept creeping up inside of me. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to shift from being entertaining in this commentary and take a bit more of a metaphysical and psychological approach to both of these situations, because there's a lot in common in both of these scenarios. And I know for a fact that everything does not meet the eye in either one of these situations. So you guys are going to have on your spiritual thinking cap, okay? Put on your propeller hat, honey, okay? Because we're going to go to the astral plane. We're going to go into some metaphysical concepts here in discussing both Miss Keke and her counterpart, Skai Jackson. So I think the very first story that we need to crank and crack open. Hey, Rose. Hey, boo. I love calling you Rose, even though you're Rose. What's going on? High mental abilities, grand rising, been up doing work on the computer on period. I woke up early. I've been waking up between like 3 and 5. Those are the, in Jewish mysticism, even in the Old Testament, those hours are considered to be the fourth watch. A lot of people traditionally wake up between 3 and 6, or 4 and 6, I should say. These would be times where Jesus allegedly would get up to pray and to meditate and to bend and yield the spiritual laws, because in Jewish mysticism, there's a belief that the veil between the astral planes and the so-called physical dimension have been thinned. Okay, so this is a great time to really connect to the divine, to connect to your higher thoughts, to really reset yourself, to reappropriate your energetic and vibrational posture. Okay, and the reason why I use the term allegedly when talking about the physical plane is that, unlike the narrative about the physical plane, there really is no such thing as a physical plane. Earth is also a spiritual plane. It just is a denser spiritual reality, which is why it sometimes takes us a lot longer to manifest supernaturally and metaphysically in this dimension. But the fact that we can manifest and we can do and yield supernatural things in this dimension is indicative of the fact that even the so-called physical dimension is actually just a spiritual dimension. It just vibrates at a slower rate compared to some of the higher spiritual realities. Okay, so I don't believe in the so-called physical. There is no such thing as physical. There's no such thing as the physical reality. Okay, it's all spiritual reality. Earth is also an astral plane as well. Nonetheless, we ain't here for that. Well, we kind of are here for that. Okay. So I've been waking up between those hours. So I usually would get up, do my meditation, and get myself together, dip my face in some cold, icy cold water, and just get myself rejuvenated and situated. Okay. It's a blessed time to be up between these hours. Now let's get into y'all's favorite Disney character, girl. These Disney girls just be going left, baby. Okay. Can't nobody stand the rain over there at Disney, at Nickelodeon, honey. It's just a mess. Skai Jackson, as you guys already know, was locked up and arrested, girl, for beating the hell out of her ninja over there at Miss Universal's. Okay, let me pull up an old nasty piece of visual first and foremost, because you guys know I like to give y'all something to look at. Oh, yes, I do. And the story was pretty shocking because it was so multi-layered, honey. We learned that Skai is allegedly pregnant and she's allegedly engaged to a ninja that nobody has been formally introduced to, girl. And people were even more shocked when they saw who this ninja was, girl. It was given opposites attract, but that's exactly what we're going to get into here in this discussion. All right, now, courtesy of the LA Times, Disney Channel's Skai Jackson arrested on suspicion of domestic battery at Universal Studios. Scroll down here, honey. Disney Channel star Skai Jackson could be facing a misdemeanor after getting arrested last week at Universal Studios in Hollywood. The Jesse and Bunk actor was arrested August 9th on suspicion of domestic battery after security personnel noticed her and her boyfriend getting into a personal altercation at the theme park, which is adjacent to the Universal City Walk dining and shopping district. Let me take down this banner. Bloop. All right. While inside the Universal Studios theme park, a domestic incident occurred involving Skai Jackson. A spokesperson for the LA County Sheriff's Department said Tuesday, quote, based on the initial investigation, it was determined that Ms. Jackson was the primary aggressor and was arrested for misdemeanor and spousal battery. Jackson, 22 years old, was then transported to the West Hollywood station for booking. On-site security called police after claiming to have seen Jackson push her boyfriend, according to page 6 in TMZ. Security personnel detained the couple until local authorities arrived and reviewed security footage which allegedly showed that Jackson had pushed her boyfriend twice. Jackson was arrested at 5:50 p.m. and was booked at 6:30 p.m. according to the sheriff's jail records. Her bail was set for $20,000 and she was cited and released a few hours later. The Bubble Guppies voice actor and her boyfriend reportedly denied getting physical during the incident, and Jackson allegedly claimed that they are happily engaged and expecting a damn baby together. A representative for Jackson did not immediately respond Tuesday to the Times' request for comment. Sheriff's officials said that the investigation is ongoing and will be sent to the Van Nuys Superior Court for further filing. My God, today, okay? Now, you guys know that prior to this incident, Skai Jackson was doing a bunch of hide and seek posts with her ninja, okay? She was blurring out his face and blurring his face out with emojis and her manicured, pedicured ass feet, girl. And of course, the internet FBI girl went into putting all the Blue's Clues together to track this ninja down based upon his hairstyle, his complexion, and his tattoos. And it was discovered that an individual named Rich and Violent on Instagram is the man in question, which I'm going to show you guys here. All right, this is the ninja up close and personal. Okay, he has 84,000 followers on Instagram, but only 3 posts, because this is how these desperate posers and clout chasers attempt to make themselves look lit, by having fewer posts and a whole lot of unnecessary following, girl, okay? So this is her ninja 3 weeks ago on May the 3rd, in some type of chevron, girl, with a Mountain Dew and an energy drink, girl. He's giving skater vibes. He's giving, you know, I cut myself when I'm depressed. This is some also, girl, at some type of a, what, birthday shindig, girl, some type of celebration here. Okay, this given LA as well. This was back on April 14th. And this is him in his full glory, girl. All right. Now, people were alleging that, hey, you know, they were surprised that this was Skai Jackson's type, child. Okay, but you know, we're gonna get into that as well. You should never be surprised. It always actually makes sense. Okay, why these folk be folking like this. Matter of fact, let me just keep a picture of him pulled up. Now, what I learned over on Miss Madame Noor.com is that he's also known on Twitter, I believe, as NT Work Boys, okay? Now, his digital footprint is very sparse, okay? There's not a lot of information about him. There's not a lot of intel about him on the internet. He keeps a very low profile, so I'm going to assume that it really wasn't Skai who was keeping him private. This was more or so his preference, okay, for whatever reason. Now, why in the hell he would want to have 84,000 followers on Instagram, but at the same time keep a low profile is kind of weird, unless there's something that he's in fact hiding, and maybe she's in fact helping him to hide it. Who fucking knows, okay? But apparently, according to his bio, he's based in Ohio and Kentucky. The photo of Jackson's alleged new boo quickly spread across X, and fans did not hold back from sharing their opinions about the sex appeal star's rumored lover. Some fans weren't impressed by his looks, with one user noting how he looked like a light-skinned ginger. Other fans claimed that Jackson's new man had the demeanor of a bad boy and thug. A user named Yagerlon claimed that the Bunk star's rumored lover looked like he would take money out of her purse when asleep. Social media detectives speculated about the identity of Kalia, drawing clues from the face tattoo sported by Jackson's rumored partner. The notion that Kalia might be a woman from his past stirred mixed reactions amongst fans, with some expressing discontent about the possibility. Other users pondered if Jackson was dating a white or biracial man based on his seemingly white hue. Okay. So they got it going on over on Miss X, child. They got it going on, honey. They got this man feeling like he is auditioning for top model or something. My goodness, today. Jackson has not confirmed the identity of her new man, but this wouldn't be the first time speculation about Star's love life has run amok online. In 2021, Jackson was rumored to be dating Daniel Jewels Jr. Smith, Solange Knowles' son, Beyonce's nephew, after a photo surfaced of the star sitting on top of the model's shoulders. At the time, a source close to the pair told BCK Online that the duo dated at one point but were no longer together. Okay? Now, let me take this down and get into some things. Now, there's a lot of conversation, rightfully so, happening around Skai Jackson and her being arrested for pushing and shoving her boyfriend. I guess we got to keep the same energy. You know, abuse is abuse, and Skai Jackson definitely is being held to task criminally for her behavior, but also there should be some social backlash as well. Domestic abuse runs both directions. Men statistically perpetuate more physical DV, and women statistically perpetuate more emotional and mental DV. But every now and again, the two swap, okay? Or there's some combination of the two. So there's that. Now, what's interesting about this is when I was reading the details about the incident, it made me wonder how much more freaking toxic is this damn relationship, because this woman whooped her ninja's ass in broad daylight, under the moonlight, in front of surveillance, and to make matters worse, in front of damn authorities and securities. And yet, despite knowing that all of their behavior had been captured on camera and had been witnessed by pedestrians and mall cops and flashlight cops, these people still denied that anything had transpired and told authorities that they were happily engaged and expecting their first child together. Now, if that's how their denial is set up, it forced me to consider, girl, how much more damn toxic is this relationship behind closed damn doors? How much more of this buffoonery is transpiring in the heat of the night? Like, how much more is it? Also, I did take into consideration that Skai shoving this ninja, who looks like he's about 7'3" damn tall, compared to Skai, who looks like she is 3 centimeters, you know, in height, girl, is equivalent to a cat gnawing at its owner's ankles. But nonetheless, okay, keep your hands to your damn self, regardless of proportions, right? But she's also pregnant. So, you know, is there something hormonal going on? You know, there's all type of disturbances happening. Maybe it was a one-off. I don't know. But the question has been, why do these successful melanated ass women tend to choose these raggedy dusties? Why do they go for these so-called bad boys? Why is it that, you know, these intelligent and talented Black women just won't date within their sphere economically, within their sphere career-wise? Why? Everybody from Keke, and we're going to get into her and her ninja Darius, to Skai and her ski mask wearing ass albino. Like, girl, what is it really giving? And as I thought about this, and 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 I talked a little bit about this on Tea on Top of Tea on Monday. You guys check that out. We had streamed over on Royce Reed's platform. So please go over and give my boy a click and a view and subscribe. We had a great show. My metaphysical antenna started to peak and percolate. You know, it started to twerk, girl. And I realized that women like Amanda Bynes, Britney Spears, Skai Jackson, from a metaphysical standpoint, I completely get why they go left in terms of their dating choices. It's because typically when you get people who are extreme in an area of their life, like they have a lot of structure, they have to be very responsible, they have to grow up really fast, they have to maintain a so-called image, okay? Like a lot of these pop stars and Disney stars, or a lot of these female talents who are kind of marketed as innocent and virtuous and virgin-like, that there's a lot of pressure to perpetuate such an image, to live accordingly. We know that Haley got the same feedback when she started dating DDG, you know, her baby father, etc. Girl, you know, people were dragging her, you know, to smithereens, you know, our Black Little Mermaid, you know, why would you do this, honey? You know, out of all the men you could be with, why be with a fucking clown? Even though we kind of like DDG now, okay? He's kind of proven that he's, you know, going to go the long haul, and he seemingly has grown up as well. But, you know, a lot of these women, they're under immense pressure. And something that happens when you have to live to the extreme, when you have to live a particular lifestyle, is that in return, if you're not doing your inner work and if you're not doing your shadow work, your shadow will become you, and it will express itself typically in other aspects of your life, which can be your relational life. We saw that Britney Spears, she sung about being overprotected. She started seemingly rebelling against the status quo, against her label, against this reputation of being America's white matriarchal virgin sweetheart. She started also dating her a white thug, okay, a wigger, also known as Kevin Featherline, and she was getting fucked and plucked all on top of the damn Eiffel Tower and all on top of the VMA warehouse and shit, girl, just living her best slutty life, girl, with Kevin Featherline, letting that man run all up and through her legs, all up and through her damn bank account, honey, ooting up her club with all that damn semen, baby, you know, just dog walking her, baby. And Britney was with it, child, okay, because typically when you live a strict regiment, if you don't do your shadow work, if you don't do your inner work, what will happen is you will develop an alter ego, and you will personify that alter ego typically through the people you hang out with. Seemingly, like, why are you hanging out with the wrong? You're hanging out with the wrong crowd. You know, we say this to our teenagers who seem to be so different than, you know, their ratchet, raggedy ass friendship group, you know, or we see it reflected even in this context of these Hollywood successful women who date seemingly opposite of who they are because they're not doing their work, and they need balance because we live in a dimension where the law of polarity is a real thing. Everything in this dimension has to come within balance. Light and darkness are in relationship to each other. They're married to one another. So when we don't live in balance and we don't live in harmony and we don't have healthy ways to do our shadow work, when we don't have healthy ways to facilitate the things that are in the dark recesses of our consciousness, honey, our dark fantasies, or the things we wish we could do, the things we want to do, but we're too sophisticated, we're too civilized, we've been raised too well to do so, but nonetheless, these desires still vibrate. These thoughts, these fantasies still vibrate. And when we don't put those things in a journal, or we don't have healthy expressions through finding artistic expressions of our shadow work, or using our shadow self as a way to deepen our own understanding of who we are and what we're dealing with, which can then in return help to heighten our emotional intelligence, what ends up becoming instead is, once again, we end up running with people who are in alignment with our shadow self, either socially or intimately and romantically. So what this tells me about Skai Jackson is that her femininity is out of balance, and she isn't balancing her femininity with healthy masculinity, which also doesn't have to come external to her. She can tap into her own masculinity more. She may be wanting to have more say-so in her life. She may want to be more assertive in her life. She may be feeling a claustrophobic as it relates to her brand. Is limiting her in terms of who she is and how she can be and how she can show up in the world, but she doesn't know how to necessarily go about that. Or, you know, she's being challenged about seizing more creative control, etc. And so what this then gives birth to is the law of attraction, yielding to her a partner who does have a big fuck you. Okay. And this is why it looks so oppositional. Look at Skai, and let me see if I got a picture of Skai and her ninja. Yeah, I do. Let me pull him up. It looks so opposite, girl. Here it is. You got Disney star. She's so clean cut. And you got, you know, Mr. Locks, hand tattoos. You know, he wearing ski masks and shit. And she loves this. Because what good girls love about bad boys is not necessarily the drama that in fact comes with them. What imbalanced good girls like about bad boys is what they energetically and psychologically symbolize. It's the freedom. It's the anti-society that they appreciate. It's the ability to be self-concerned. It's the fearlessness. It's the willingness to take risk. These are the things that good girls seemingly feel they lack, and they vicariously will live through the thug. They will live through the abuser. They will live through the ratchetness of their partner. And at surface level, it can look like opposites are attracting, but really it's not. It's just that the good girl is living inauthentically at the surface, but she is a lot more like that toxic guy. She's a lot more like her male counterpart than what meets the eye. Okay. And with that being said, I feel very, I empathize with Skai, because as I said on Tea on Top of Tea, this is why everybody needs spirituality in their life. They need a spiritual guru. They need a spiritual advisor, because 99.9% of your life is metaphysical, is spiritual. It's in tandem with your spiritual nature, working collaboratively with spiritual laws. And when you don't understand that and you negate that, then you end up really missing a big chunk of context from your life and why you attract the things you attract, and how to necessarily understand the things you feel, understand the things you manifest, the connection between you and what just showed up in your peripheral, what just showed up in your aura, what just showed up in your reality. The spiritual component of your life is very, very necessary, because it informs you about what you are, about what you're living, and about how to navigate your lived experience in a way that's more productive and conducive to you. She has attracted her alter ego through the form of a ninja who is bringing out the parts of her that are unhealed, the parts of her that don't give a fuck, the parts of her that are frustrated. And because this is an unhealthy way of doing your shadow work, which is through relationship to a toxic partner, it's potentially costing her. Now she's catching a charge. Now she's, putting dings in her brand. Now she's taking on something within her reputation that is not consistent with what we know from Skai Jackson. And this is the unfortunate thing about good girls not doing their work and attracting dusties as a result, and then ending up with bad credit and a suspended license and a half-baked career in the end, baby. Okay? So, once again, we all have a shadow side. We all have shadow work. There are healthy ways to relate to our shadow self. I am going to advise all men and advise all women to do not do your shadow work, girl, through toxic relationships, okay? It's too risky. You could end up losing your life. You could end up taking a life. You could end up losing it all behind doing your shadow work through ratchet ass friendships and ratchet ass intimate relationships. If you are finding that you are struggling to be in control in certain ways to balance your life, there are other ways in which you can flex the own thug in you in a way that's healthy. You may just need to be more assertive verbally. You may be able to need to be more assertive mentally. You need to deal with your fear-based issues. You need to deal actually with your insecurities, because when we don't deal with our fears, we don't deal with our insecurities, we don't deal with our traumas, we don't deal with our lack of self-esteem, what it does is all that shit sits as energy, and then the law of attraction responds to that energy, and then the law of polarity brings us the equivalent of that energy, which can once again come in the form of all type of misfortune. In Skai's case, it's a raggedy, dusty ninja that is bringing out the worst in her. And now she caught up in a misdemeanor. She might be prosecuted. Now she got to PR her way through this shit. This is a mess. And they're not even married yet. And the baby ain't even came yet. And yet this is already the messiness that is in the interim, in the origins of this duo. Okay? Get your ass a journal. Get your ass a psychologist. Get your ass a therapist. Find you a goddamn couch. BetterHelp.com will help you to outsource for a therapist that can fit all of your damn psychological needs. But doing your shadow work through these ninjas and through these raggedy ass women are going to continue to cost everybody. Okay? There's also nothing wrong with your shadow side. There's all type of violent shit in there. There's all type of alter ego and things in there. You can engage this self through keeping a journal, being authentic to those thoughts, bring those thoughts into expression. Don't be ashamed of them. We all have a shadow side. There's somebody we all wanted to hurt real bad. All of us wanted to cuss our parents out. All of us wanted to go completely fucking nuclear. There's nothing to be ashamed about as it relates to those feelings. It's how we deal with those feelings that are going to either act as an improvement to us or work against us. Like a lot of creative people, what they do with their shadow thoughts is they produce horror movies. They produce comic books. They have healthy expressions. Some people go to a rage room and express their shadow side and get all of that shit out of them. Some people become athletes and put all of that energy into physicality. You want to, once again, do your shadow work in a way that's conducive, not give yourself permission to be low vibrational. And then it costs you your health, it costs you your wealth, it costs you your reputation, etc. Once again, we all have a shadow self, and there's healthy ways to do your work. There's healthy ways to express this so-called dark side of our divinity. All right, so Skai Jackson, girl, I don't know what you need to be doing. Only you know what your tea is. Only you know what's going on with you. And I just hope and pray that the universe brings you all the reality checks that are necessary before you go any further, so that you can do your actual work and you can seize control right now while you have a damn chance, and get your shit together, baby. Because if you ignore the signs of the times, and you ignore the stars that are over Bethlehem pointing your ass to your damn savior, lady, I guarantee you, both you and your ninja not only gonna be in a ski mask, y'all ass gonna be in a damn orange jumpsuit, girl, just like Krishan Rock and Blueface, honey. And you're gonna be sitting on a massive shoulda, coulda, woulda that could have really been prevented. Don't allow your loneliness to make you settle, and understand that whatever it is that appeals to you about this ninja is a reflection of traits in you that you wish you had in areas of your life that you feel disempowered in. And rather than focus on him and adoring that rebelliousness, think about what you are adoring in him and how you can properly use that to empower yourself in the areas of your life that you are disempowered in. Okay? All right. Let's move on, girl, to Miss Keke Palmer. What's going on, Dreaming Edmund? Hey, boo. What's going on, Bet Story? Keke Palmer, girl, has also struck up Consciouztv, okay, according to Vibe.com. Keke Palmer and Darius Jackson posed with son at zoo in first photo since mutual abuse claims. On Monday, August the 13th, a photo surfaced online of Keke Palmer and her ex-boyfriend Darius Jackson spending some time with their son Leotis at the zoo. The new photo shows Leo laughing with his mama while Darius can be seen smiling big for the camera. It's assumed that the family went to visit the animals, as a carousel of photos on Leotis' Instagram provides more context about the outing. In the 9th and 10th slide, which both coincide with the post-numbered caption, includes baby Leo wearing the same shirt he wears in the flick with his parents and also getting a face painting of a lion. Quote, "You can't tell, but I loved it. I had a fun day at the zoo. I'm grateful and hope you guys had a good weekend," the caption reads. Okay, I didn't know that baby Leo had his own damn Instagram page, girl. The photo does not appear on neither Keke or Darius's Instagram accounts, but comes months after a judge granted the Key TV creator temporary custody of Leotis and a restraining order against Darius. At the time, the 30-year-old accused him of physical and emotional abuse, which included him love bombing her and then growing distant and cold at certain times of difficulty. Additionally, video surveillance footage also surfaced showing the two in a scuffle at their residence. The 29-year-old denied it all and countered her claims with abuse allegations of his own. In a December lawsuit, Darius alleged that Keke was the aggressor and would verbally and physically abuse him. He also claimed that the Nope actress consumed alcohol frequently and would become agitated and aggressive once inebriated. To add, he even recalled a time where Keke allegedly punched him in the face, and according to Radar Online, text messages were obtained showing Keke apologizing for the attack. However, Darius's lawsuit and Keke's restraining order against him were apparently dropped. While the family photo does not prove if they are indeed an item, it does show the two are taking a step in the right direction to co-parent. However, Darius went on a rant earlier this year about their custody battle. Quote, "I feel for the dads that gave up when it came to custody. It's mentally, emotionally, and physically draining. You will lose yourself," he wrote on social media at the time. Quote, "My spirit My spirit is too strong to give up, but I totally understand. I have pondered it. Thank God I have an amazing circle. He then advised, quote, for those who don't have kids, and this is something that will emphasize to my son, wait till marriage and make sure God is the center of your relationship. There's a rule book that's been given to us thousands of years ago. Best to follow it because everything else leads to chaos. All right, now I'm going to show you this image that got the folks shooketh, baby. All right. And people are also alleging, just like Skai Jackson, that Keke Palmer is pregnant and appears to physically be pregnant. What's going on, Kimberly? Grand Rising, everyone. Grand Rising, you guys. Thumbs up for me, please, please, please. Love y'all long time. Okay, this is the picture in question. As you guys can see, Keke appears to have what some are saying is a belly bump. All right, she got a little baby bump here, honey. All right, it's giving love on top, bitch. All right, and this got people concerned considering just how toxic the pair and their parents have been. You guys know that Keke Palmer's mother girl accused Usher of being gay. She also had a scuffle with Darius's mother through texts that were exposed, where we learned that apparently Darius has choked out Keke at times. I know choked out his sister at times, and where Keke and her mother have threatened to whoop everybody on Darius Jackson's side of the family ass. Okay. Then apparently it also came out, according to Sharon Palmer, Keke's mother girl, that Darius's brother is a known abuser. He's abused his previous girlfriends. We also saw him in the group chat, girl, out here publicly windmilling on behalf of his brother, saying that the truth would come out soon, alluding to the fact that Keke was a wickedy witch of the East, and she was a horrendous liar and manipulator, and that his brother would be vindicated. Girl, it's been a damn mess. Now, you guys know that shockwaves were sent when Keke Palmer went to file her protective order against Darius, which did include still shots from a home surveillance system that captured her in various types of tiffs with Darius. It was controversial at the time because some, upon a closer look, decided that Keke, in some of the stills and some of the so-called evidence she presented, was not in fact being abused, which is why she was selective in the frames that she chose to submit, rather than submitting the entire footage, which would have put the entire physical altercation to context. She did photo stills instead. And in some of those photo stills, where it's being narrated that he is fighting her and throwing her over couches and various things of that nature, she actually is, let me see, is this in the Vibe article itself? Hold on. Let me see. If I go to Twitter. No, this ain't what I'm looking for. That's not what I'm looking for. Hold on. I think we have some of the images here. I think we got some of the images here. Okay, yes, here it is. Such as these images here, which some commenters, girl, were mowing over. Okay. Look closely at these. Keke submitted these images to the courts as it pertained to her protective order. It's narrated that she was thrown over the couch, etc. But this cannot be possible considering how Keke is postured. If she was tossed over a couch, she would not be landing on her back legs, okay? What's happening in these images is she's actually getting up off the couch, okay? She's using her right leg as a way to leverage her body so she could toss herself over and run behind Darius, as you guys can see here, who is walking away, All right. In other images, it could be seen that they were seemingly actually tussling over his phone rather than him abusing her. But then there are other stills where he's seemingly dragging her down the staircase. So what I surmised from everything coming from both sides of the family, everything that was in the protective order, hearing both of them out, is that this was a fairly toxic relationship. Now, the interesting thing about what's going on with Keke and Darius is that a lot of people feel like Darius has, in fact, been vindicated, and that Keke, in fact, is the abuser. We also have text messages of Keke apologizing to Darius for specific incidents in which she was aggressive toward him, she physically assaulted him, etc. So a lot of people feel like, look, you know, Keke wasn't so innocent after all. I kind of have a difference of opinion. I'm going to be honest. Keke Palmer, as initially stated, was not somebody who was known for being problematic. We had never heard of Keke being abusive prior to this Darius scenario. We had never had any of her exes come forward and make any accusations toward her prior. So I'm going to surmise that something very similar that's happened to Skai Jackson is also happening to Keke Palmer. I think that Darius is a narcissist. I think that Keke was being narcissistically abused in this relationship. And I think that Keke Palmer lost herself in this relationship and, in fact, became also the abuser in being defensive. Now, abuse is abuse, whether you are the victim who is responding to abuse with abuse, or whether you are the instigator of that abuse. Abuse is abuse. But I'm going to make an argument for context here. And I believe that Keke is a victim of narcissistic abuse. And a lot of victims of narcissistic abuse end up dealing with that abuse in different ways. Some victims of narcissistic abuse, they lose all of their power. They just continue to be dominated. They never really stand up for themselves. They just end up being completely submitted, you know, to that abuse until there's nothing left for themselves, until they are driven to their deaths, or until their lives are taken, or until the narcissist finally just absorbs all of the resources emotionally, spiritually, physically that they can, and then they finally leave on their own. While some victims of narcissistic abuse actually, as a way to survive the abuse mentally, the abuse physically, also will strike back. Their response to abuse is to be aggressive. Their response to abuse is to also be verbally abusive, to be physically abusive in return. Now, once again, this doesn't necessarily make it right, but this is sometimes how victims of abuse, under severe psychological abuse, severe emotional abuse, severe physical abuse, sometimes choose to cope with being abused, which is by being abusive back mentally, being abusive back physically. And honestly, this is something that the narc taught them. This is something that the narcissist taught them how to do. The narcissist solution to getting their way, to trying to control their relationship, to trying to get what they need out of the empath or out of the victim in the situation, is by being manipulative, is by being abusive, is by using ghosting and the cold shoulder and silent treatment as a way to get their needs met. So the victim in return logically employs the same mechanisms to get the abuse to stop, to control their relationship and to make it better through manipulative tactics, you know, or through abusive tactics. You know, being with a narc literally changes the way that your brain is wired, you know, and it reduces you to being in a fight or flight state in a abusive relationship, which is why, once again, you see two outcomes with victims. They're either going to flee or they're going to fight. And it seems to me that Keke Palmer chose to fight as a survival mechanism rather than to flee. Now, the sad part about it is that she is a woman who has worked her whole life as a teen star, as a child star, to build a stable and a lucrative career for herself. And she is in the public eye, and she had more to lose as a result of Darius Jackson. Therefore, even though she may have been the victim in the scenario, the way she survived her victimhood by fighting back, by swinging back on Darius, by being manipulative, by, you know, doing all the things that she learned from his ass in terms of how to navigate their relationship, has come back to bite her. And the narc did what they always do. Hey, this beach is better. Hey, Nicole. The narc did what they always do. As somebody who has been a victim of narcissistic abuse, who had no idea at the time that my twin flame was being a narcissist, I knew they were being abusive. I knew shit was feeling real wicked. I knew shit was out of control and intense. And I knew that I was being taken on a roller coaster for years, but I did not have a real like academic understanding about what exactly I was experiencing. So I was just living in real time through my relationship. And what narcissists do is, because of their own distorted nature, they end up bringing out the worst in you. And then what they do is they utilize gaslighting you. They utilize abusing you by giving you the cold shoulder and by silent treatment. These are all control mechanisms. These are all abusive, coercive mechanisms. The cold shoulder, silent treatment, all these things are psychologically manipulative. What they do is they take your reaction, they take your adverse reaction from that mental and physical abuse, and they document it themselves. And then they use that against you, even though they are actually the aggressors. But they're so good at triangulating. They're so good at diminishing your reputation and setting you up in these scenarios to look like a crazy bitch. And then they capture you in your most crazy of moments. And if they have to utilize that in a court of law through custody battles, etc., or if you dare expose them, they have their counters on the back end. I would never forget how, because I was trying to find this text before I did the story. There was a particular text message. I don't know who exposed. I don't know whether Keke exposed it, Darius exposed it, but in one of those text threads that came out, Darius was literally telling Keke that basically the only way I'm going to fucking take you seriously, or I'm going to forgive you, or etc., is that you're going to have to say blah, 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 blah. You're going to have to do. And she knew that he was setting her up through text, but nonetheless, she still ended up giving him what he wanted. So I'm also kind of leaning toward rather I believe even the things that Keke Palmer so-called admitted in her text thread, because I know that he pressured her to take the heat off of him by getting herself to testify to being abusive, being a liar. And I don't know whether those things that she's saying about herself are true, or those things she are saying because that's a part of his list of demands in order for him to take her back. Because Keke does seem to be really pressed about this man, and she succumbs to her desperation to be with him. After all, she survived this toxic relationship for so fucking long, and even after all of this, even after protective orders and custody battles, here it is, you know, she is back in photo ops with him. She is smiling all in his face. And even in this image, let's pull this image up because I think that this image is also very, very, very telling. Look at this photo op. Let me blow it up. Look at this. Even this photo shows who is more invested. Here it is. You have Keke. She has her body pointed toward Darius, pointed toward her child. She is chin up. She is all smiles. She's looking at them both. All of her is centered and directed toward the both of them, while his body is seemingly faced forward, okay? Because he's more so self-centered in his energy. He's more so someone who is anchored in self and focused on self, while she, as the feminine entity, as always, has her body completely made available. Her energy, her consciousness, her feelings, her emotions are all facing toward the thing she values the most, which is her child and Darius. While he's pointing forward, he's not even looking back at her. Okay, so I think even this image is very telling of really the power dynamic between Keke and the power dynamic between Darius. I fully believe that Keke Palmer is a victim of narcissistic abuse because he has asked her to admit to certain things, to say certain things, and wanted those things said through text, not said in person, not really a authentic confession, but you gonna have to say this, and the third through text in order basically for me to fuck with you. Once again, I also have to second guess whether the things that she confessed are even true or just a result of her trying to appease him by making herself look like the aggressor, making herself look as flawed, etc., because he was really pressed about clearing up his public image, which is also what the focal point of narcissists are. Narcissists don't care about how they treat you privately. They only care about you telling everybody publicly. Okay? So, of course, he went more so into PR than she did. Even though she's the star, even though she knew her baby daddy would probably use these text messages to vindicate himself, she still chose to give him that because she's not the narcissist in this situation. But because he's less of a star. We didn't even know who the fuck Darius was prior to his relationship to Keke Palmer. He's the one going into damage control. He's the one who's wanting his reputation cleaned up as if he's the superstar, as if he is the famous person in this situation, because that's what narcs are obsessed with. They are obsessed with the optics. They don't give a fuck about the actual reality. They know they're abusing you. They know they're wrong as hell. They know everything that's going on in the background. They don't care about none of that. They don't care about what they're actually doing to you. They only care that everybody knows about it. And now that everybody does, once again, the narc has to go on their smear campaign. They have to tell all type of lies. They have to exploit you at your worst in order to make it look, to deflect from them, to make you look like the psychopath motherfucker in the situation. I've been through all of this. A particular situation I went through with my twin flame was we got into a physical altercation and he had hit me first, but when he turned on the camera, all he was filming was me whipping his ass. but he removed him putting his hands on me first. The camera didn't come on until it was time for me to respond to what he had initiated. And he left all of that context out and only showed me putting my foot off into his motherfucking neck. Okay? I didn't know that people were manipulative enough to do things like this. I did not know that people could set up people that love them in this way. I remember being so floored at just the level of manipulation of the truth and the level of manipulation of the facts. Okay. And of course, from an optic standpoint, if you are not in the situation, you have no choice but to think that I'm the aggressor and that I'm the one that's being off the chain because it looks like what it looks like, even though it's not what it looks like. So, you know, it's a really wild thing to be entangled with a narcissist, to be entangled with an abuser. These people are extremely cunning. These people are extremely diabolical. They practice dark psychology. And if you have no idea what you're really dealing with, and you just know that you're in love, you just know that you want your family, you just know that you want things to work out desperately between you and your soulmate, and you are just kind of powerless and you don't have the tools to really navigate a situation like that in a healthy way or to leave. Unfortunately, sometimes the victim can also then start using abusive tactics in return in order to mitigate their psychic and emotional injuries in their relationship. And this, unfortunately, hardly does not work out for the victim, because all the narc is going to do, as justified as your actions are, as justified as you whipping a motherfucking ass was, because they put their hands on you, they initiated physical violence, they are mentally terrorizing you, so you mentally terrorize their ass back. We even can see through the Usher situation, you know, when you see some of the statements that Keke made about her experience of her relationship, you know, he would just ghost her, he would just walk away from her, he would just leave her in the middle of difficult conversations, or leave her by physically removing himself in dialogue that he knew was important to her. All this stuff is meant to induce stress in you. You know, these narcissists know what they're doing when they're not answering the phone for you, when they don't want you to hold them accountable, when they refuse to create space in the relationship for you to express your grievances, your sadnesses, the things that concern you. And they intentionally eject themselves and make themselves emotionally unavailable in them situations. They know it is to strike that these things are going to mentally distress you and emotionally distress the fuck out of you. And after you've experienced consecutive mental and emotional abuse, even without the physical, just emotional and mental abuse alone, back to back to back to back to back to back, someone taking advantage of you in your vulnerability, somebody abandoning you when you've let your guard down, somebody intentionally afflicting you when you are the most unguarded and you're attempting to be the most authentic and vulnerable to yourself and to them, and they do fucked up shit like this, which is turn their fucking backs on you. Yes, these things can cause a egoic response from the person who is being victimized in this situation. They may end up going upside the narcissist motherfucking head. They may end up throwing goddamn dishes. They may end up busting out car fucking windows. They may end up, this type of psychological abuse can manifest in low vibrational physical responses. And once again, I'm not arguing for a excuse on Keke's part. What I am doing is giving an explanation, not an excuse. I want it to be very clear, because sometimes when we go to talk about the why and the context behind people's behavior, sometimes some people think that that's an excuse being made. No, it's an explanation, because none of our behavior exists within a vacuum. None of our behavior just is because it is. And I am saddened for Keke Palmer because Darius never deserved a Keke. Darius is beneath Keke economically and socially. Keke definitely lowered her standards to be with the Darius. According to Keke, he was initially supposed to be a sneaky link, but of course a narcissist took full advantage of the fact that he had a high profile, six-figure, high value woman that was attracted to him, and it was too much of an opportunity for him to walk away from. So of course he loved to bomb her. Of course he made himself appear to be her knight in shining armor. Of course he went out of his way to solidify a bag, because that's what Keke Palmer was to Darius, a bag. There was even correspondences between the brother and Darius that reflected the fact that Keke was being objectified in their relationship. I don't remember the details, but I remember when I had initially covered this during the time that it was happening, that we had went over a lot of the things that were being made public, old tweets and text messages, and somewhere amidst all of that evidence, there was a correspondence between Darius and his brother that reflected the fact that Keke ass was being fucking used. I think it was even to some degree, poorly paraphrasing, the brother basically saying that, you'd be stupid to not lean in. I mean, how many fucking opportunities will they be for, a woman of her stature to be interested in a ninja like you? Okay. And there's, once again, spiritual components that are here as well. Darius is a reflection of unconscious things in Keke Palmer. And Iyanla said something very powerful in one of her episodes of Fix My Life. She said, y'all thought, she was talking to a married couple, y'all thought that y'all were attracted to each other in love. But what y'all actually were attracted to is each other's wounds. That is a very profound statement, that in our unconscious selves, the underbelly of the external self, that we have all type of unresolved, we have all type of things hidden within ourselves that are not at surface level, that you cannot acknowledge and discern unless it's through introspective work, unless it's through shadow work, that are also placating into why you are attracted to the type of people you are attracted to socially, why you have certain habits as a person, destructive habits, certain destructive pathologies in yourself that are connected to things that you have yet to realize, actualize, things that you have felt to identify and to liberate yourself from. And once again, the law of attraction is responding to everything in us. It's responding to everything about us. Everything that we feel, everything that we think, whether we're conscious of it or not conscious of it, has a energetic equity. It has an energetic price. And the law of attraction is shelving shit according to the price of the energy on every particular thought and every particular feeling. Out of this, once again, we give birth to relationships that are a reflection, not to our surface selves, but are a reflection unto our unconscious self. And so, as I was saying then at the time, I wish that, once again, there was somebody spiritual in Keke Palmer's life to tell her, look, this is not about Darius, Keke. You got to look beyond him, because there's a you that's being worked out and that's being reflected back to you through your attraction to this person. And there is a you that's being reflected back to you that is about why. What has happened to you that has made this type of neglect okay? What has happened to you in your lived experience? What has happened to you in your childhood? What has happened to you throughout your life that has led to you settling for this type of foolishness and ignorance? You have to address the why. Why is it that you would be willing to be in alignment with something that is costing you this much? It's costing you the experience of being a mother. It's costing you the experience of being a woman. It's costing you potential dings in your career. What is that about? What is that about? Move beyond Darius. Move deeper into self. And tell me what your experience of you is without the filter of being beautiful, without the filter of being that bitch, without the filter of the ego. Hold on, y'all. Because a lot of times we can't see the truths we need to, the tougher truths, the deeper truths, because we're using our egos to numb us to the pain. We go into big bossing on ourselves in order to survive tough things. We go to telling ourselves how we are that bitch, he'll never find another. And even though those things may be true too, we are that bitch, he will never find another. That's not all the inventory. And sometimes taking that approach just for the sake of not wanting to feel the hurt and not wanting to feel the sting of the breakup and the breakdown, we end up really forfeiting having a deeper conversation with ourselves, which could actually be that I really don't think I'm that bitch. That's why I settled for a man who treated me like a bitch. I really am scared. I'm lonely. I'm getting older. These fears turned into me lessening my standards. Came under the belief that I wouldn't find my equal as a male counterpart, that I wouldn't find exactly what I was looking for. So I started doing the 50-50, the 60-40, the 70-30 rule, and start rationalizing, lowering my standard rather than working on having faith that in time, if it was meant for me to be in a prosperous, healthy relationship, it was meant for me to have a husband, if it was meant for me to have a productive long-term relationship, that the universe would provide that to me. And if not, to do the work to also resolve the issue of being without a relationship, because that does not have to be a measure of me as a woman. That doesn't have to be a measure of me as a Black woman. That doesn't have to be the substance of my legacy is a man. And there are other ways in which for me to get my intimacy needs met outside of an romantic relationship. I can deepen my friendships. I can deepen my relationship to my family. I can deepen my relationship to myself. I can make myself more available and make my relationship to spirit more vulnerable and encompassing. Like, there's all type of ways for us to mitigate the things that we struggle with in our life. There isn't like one solution to all things, you know, and right now I have taken the advice that I'm giving to Keke and giving to Skai. You know, I don't even desire a romantic relationship at all because I've deepened my relationship to myself. I've deepened my relationship to spirit. I've deepened my relationship to my community. You know, so I'm getting my emotional needs met through my relationship to God. I'm getting my intimacy needs and my emotional needs met through my relationship to my friends, to my very trusted circle. You know, we have very affectionate relationships, sometimes so affectionate that you can't even make the distinction between us as friends and us as lovers. You know, like there are so many ways to, like, there's so many alternatives to everything, and we should not sell ourselves short by trying to, once again, litigate our needs through a one-track mindedness. You know, there's multiple ways to pussy pop and to and to be solution oriented about things. So I don't believe that Darius is vindicated. I don't believe that people, you know, the people who were screaming at the time that Keke Palmer was the instigator, I don't believe that they've been vindicated either. I think that Keke Palmer is a victim of narcissistic abuse, and she unfortunately gave Darius what he wanted in order to be back with her, because it speaks to her desperation, unfortunately. It speaks to the fact that Keke Palmer probably still is not healed. He still has her emotionally in a chokehold. She still has a lot of desire around being together and wanting to be with him that probably is escalated by the fact that they have a child together. I know as a mother, she probably prefers, yes, to be in intimate relationship to the father, to have a traditional household and nuclear family experience. These are all the things that, once again, we will put ahead of the introspective work that needs to be had. And I just really hope that Keke does not allow all of that surfacey shit to cloud her judgment. I hope that she does not make a decision to be with Darius because we have a child together and this is just going to look better for the both of us. It's going to be better for our son. No. What's going to be better for your son is having a healthy and clear and intentional mother and having a healthy and clear intentional father. Even if that healthiness and clarity is y'all being clear enough to understand that we do not make well as lovers, but can still productively co-parent. I just hope that the both of them do their fucking work and that Keke just don't continue to like make these impulsive ass decisions, because it just won't get better that way. It never does. In the words of Lauryn Hill, how you gonna win when you ain't right within? Think again. So with that, and if she's pregnant, my God, today, girl. My God, today, that may be adding to why she's, you know, addickmatized, girl. It's just like, okay, if she is pregnant, all that's doing is adding to the superficial pressure to make it work with Darius. She does not want to be pregnant with this man's second child and be a single mother of two. And there's nothing wrong with her wanting to work it out with Darius either. I just hope that they're both doing the real work in the workout and not doing the surface bullshit and not just trying to be together for the sake of the kids, because those relationships fall apart even worse and they affect the kids even worse when parents attempt to do that. I just hope that they do the work, man. And if Keke turned her ass around and opened her legs up to this man, and it ain't even been a year since you know, this restraining order and all of this abuse and all this drama. And because that would have meant that him and her was fucking, you know, throughout this process, girl. Well, no, she looked like, I don't know how many months she looks. I don't know what months this will look like. What, 3 months maybe? But a shame and a scandal, girl. And this what happens when you don't do your work. You end up pregnant again by the same nightmare. And you don't realize that your abusive ass ninja is a reflection of your low self-esteem. And then you don't do the work on your self-esteem. And so therefore you still end up making the same dumb bitch decisions because you don't understand what the universe is trying to show you again and again and again and again and again. And this isn't about Darius. This is about the esteem that allowed you to put up with the Darius. This is about your inner fucking issues that allowed you to even think that any of this shit was acceptable. This was about all of the things that made you embarrass yourself and made you publicly humiliate yourself on behalf of what? A ninja that doesn't give a fuck? A ninja that cared more about you exposing the toxicity of the relationship and prioritize his image instead? He cared more about making you apologize for shit that you may or may not have actually done just to give him leverage in terms of his public profile. Because remember, at the time there was all this conversation around how this could potentially lose his career, etc. I believe that Keke gave into the pressure, and she allowed Darius once again to psychologically beat her ass and subdue her ass into making herself appear like the villain, to testify to things that she never did because she didn't want to do this to the father of her kids and to the love of her life, and she didn't want to be responsible for ending this man's career, and she knew that her baby, her son, would never forgive her for doing this to his father. And you know, and unfortunately he dominated her. He dominated the fuck out of her. And she gave in because of her hopes, because of her wishes, because of her not being able to stand on business and say, fuck all that. I wouldn't be responsible for why your career ended. Your actions are why your career would have ended. Your actions would have been why you lost your sponsor deals, your sponsorship deals. I think that when you've been through something that's volatile and you've been through something this destructive and you have been a part of a relationship that has this many layers to it, that it's not really psychologically, spiritually, and humanly possible to have come into the light and have done your work fully in just a few months worth of time. Just the fact that they're back smiling and doing photo ops for who? Who was this for? Because this is also weird. Like, why are y'all posting together and y'all custody battle is still ongoing? You know, of course, custody battles also include the implementation of counseling. So they could be undergoing some classes and some courses that are helping them to co-parent, which is, I think, is also great. But who was this photo for, to be exactly? You know, like who was this for? It's not for the child. The child doesn't even run his own Instagram. You know, it was enough for y'all to actually just be able to co-parent and to have a great day at the zoo, rubbing on zebras and giraffes and shit. But to post this to the public, why? Why? And then potentially be pregnant. Like, if it's true she's pregnant, girl, and if it's true that these people ain't really touched on none of the soul work, this is clown shit. And I am more terrified for Keke because it's given that girl, he wasn't punching me, girl. I was just walking into the punches and shit. Like, that's the way that Keke Palmer, you know, mind is set up to me in my mind, girl. Oh no, girl, he wasn't swinging on me, girl. He wasn't hitting me, girl. I was just walking into the punches. Like, digmatized to the 10th fucking degree, completely asleep behind the wheel, like utterly unconscious as fuck. I hope somebody in her life, whether it's her mama, her manager, her friends, her girlfriends, her homeboys, somebody, just really wake Keke up. And I hope that the people around Darius, because it's clear that he also has his fair share of yes men around him. His mama obviously ain't holding his ass accountable. She more worried about whether Sharon wanted to whoop Darius' ass rather than why Darius choked out his own sister, or whichever son Sharon was referring to, or why Darius has been choking out Keke. Like, it's clear to me that Darius comes from a very narcissistic ass family, because even the mama was concerned about like the optics. She was more concerned about like the result of her son's actions instead of his actual actions. Like, the result is me wanting to whoop your son's ass on behalf of fucking with my damn daughter. But don't deflect, bitch, by focusing on the end result of his actions. Focus on how we got here. Focus on what he's doing, girl, to arouse the effect to the causation. So the fact that the mom came in, swooping in like a bird of plane, no, girl, it's super mom, to get on Sharon about a threat she made to her son, instead of putting her foot on her son's neck and investing her time into figuring out if the things that were being said and alleged are in fact fucking true, and getting him to also make his experience of Keke about him. Like, no, what's going on in you, nigga, that got you acting a damn fool? Because this ain't about Keke. I don't want to hear about, well, she does this and she does that and she's so manipulative. Then why the fuck you never left? Because nobody got a GUN to your head to make you be with her. Nobody has a GUN to your head to make you lay down with her. What the fuck is going on within you as a man, within you as an individual, to where you are allowing a woman to put you through these things, and then you're justifying your reaction to those things, which is abuse psychologically and abuse physically because of her actions? What the hell is going on with you? What did me and your father not do? What did we not demonstrate to you? Why do you think this behavior is correct? Because now that you are a grown adult male, you are responsible for your behavior. You don't get to use her as an excuse for why you are doing your worst. You don't get to use her as an excuse. And just like Darius' mama and daddy and his community should be making him focus on him, Keke Palmer's family and community need to be doing the same. This ain't about Darius, baby. Why are you using him to justify why you doing your worst? This is what community need to be doing when it comes to situations like this. Rivalry, when it comes to relationship issues. Instead of everybody pointing the finger, everybody should be holding the key players accountable for their actions, for their worth. Hey, Aaron. Hey, boo. Grand Rising. A goddess Go Diva says, I heard the next court date was canceled and mediation was the last stop. I guess it worked. I hope it did. Time will tell. But if they haven't done their motherfucking work, the volcano will erupt again. If they are trying to live the honeymoon phase all over again, and they have neglected the real substantive work, they have avoided the real issues, the volcano will erupt again. And as the article said, this image is not proof per se that they're back together. I hope to God they're not back together right now, and that they're working on being with themselves, being in great relationship to themselves, because when we're in great relationship to ourselves, we can be in great relationship to everybody else. This image just maybe two parents who have found the middle ground in co-parenting and had a great day. But once again, I also don't understand why this was given to the public, especially under the circumstances. And we don't know why Keke appears goddamn pregnant. You know, are they now trying to go back into preparing to introduce themselves as a couple because Keke is in fact pregnant and she doesn't want to look like a damn baby mama? So now all of these photo ops and PR stunts are being slowly disseminated to the public in order to have Keke not look like a hoe. You know, once again, these will be all the surface things that will have these people be deaf toned to their real issues. Pregnant or not. Do your work, Keke. And don't get with this man and get back with this man for any other reason than clarifying yourself first and foremost. Same thing with fucking Darius. I wouldn't care what the public thought. If I was in Keke position and trying to do my work, and well, I can't be doing my work if I done ended up letting this nigga shoot the club up again. Girl, light and love to these folks, child. Light and love. Messy. This is messy shit. Messy shit. All right. Tell me what y'all think in the comment section. I wasn't able to really look at the chat because y'all know I had to focus on my commentary. But tell me all about it, girl. What y'all think about Skai? What y'all think about Keke? What do you think about Darius, girl? If she's pregnant, what is it giving? Will Keke ever be able to live this down? If she done went and, you know, on one hand, kind of falsified evidence in order to get her way in a custody battle, but at the same time is also experiencing abuse, and she done fucked around and ended up pregnant. Like, what do y'all think, child? Just let me know in the comment section. Thumbs up, share. $sign Consciouztv on Cash App and paypal.me/Consciouztv. If you enjoyed yourself, subscribe, all that good shit. I will see you guys in the next upload. Bye.